Hello everybody. Now before I start tackling the pipes on this thing, I decided I'm going to go ahead and glue in all the inserts. Simply because I think it's going to help me locate where the pipes go. And I've looked at most of these inserts. I don't really think there's too much more I can do to them. And anything I might want to do to them, I will be able to do after they're installed anyhow. So I'm going to go ahead and put all these guys in on the top hole and the bottom hole. Once I'm done with that, I'm going to work on removing one of the pipe details, actually bending it and then removing it. I'm going to do it one pipe at a time that way. Primarily because that way I don't have to make a record of where the pipe goes or make a map of where it goes. I'm just going to bend it, then remove it. Okay? So let me get started on this. And I'll be back after I glue these inserts in because I don't think you guys really need to watch me do that. So I'll be back in a bit. Folks, I started gluing in the cutouts. I got 3 of the front ones glued in. And then I started looking at these big spots right here. And really paying attention to the detail. Let me show you this one right here. Because this one I haven't touched yet. I got impatient and started working then, but oops, I have not been filming. Okay. This is what one of the inserts looks like. Now, see this part right here? That's a pipe. And if you look at the side, that isn't a pipe. And this part right here, that's a pipe. You look at the side, it isn't a pipe. So, I got the brass rods out. This one right here, I've already started hacking off one of the non-pipe looking pipes. Okay? I've made brass rod for this. Here, let me get something to point with. It's small. Like a brass rod. I'm replacing this one. I'm replacing this one, and this one. Okay? I've already got the brass rods bent out. I'm going to detail how to do that in a little bit. Alright? But my task right now is to cut that out without damaging, yeah, you notice up here, my Dremel got to it, without really damaging the sides of these things. That's okay, because that's not visible. But that's the fun part, getting these out of there without damaging them. I started with the Dremel, but the Dremel can only get in there so far without getting a little nuts with it. So now I'm getting in there with an X-Acto knife and I'm trimming. And I'm doing what I can with some nippers. I'll be back once I get them all cut out to show you what that looks like, and then I'll put the pipes in and show you what that looks like at the end. Alright everyone, sorry for the awkward camera angle. Yeah, there we go, that's what I want. That's the finished piece. Now, I'm not real happy with how that came out. This is my first attempt to replace the pipes with brass. I don't think it looks completely horrible. It definitely looks better than what was there. I didn't follow the molded in detail at all. I just kind of ad-libbed and put the pipes where I wanted them. I removed some of it. Like underneath this pipe, you can see that it's hollow now. It wasn't like that originally. It was exactly like this piece, this one here, where it's big and thick underneath. So my next one is to attack this one. It's going to be fun to attack this one because I want to remove this one, and this one. And yeah, that's going to be hard to remove that one. I may not remove that one. I may leave it. We will see. I may cut it off, just remove this part and replace it. Or I might leave it and just kind of scribe underneath it a little bit and try to hollow out some parts. We will see. But I definitely want to remove this one and this one because they don't look right. No, they look like pieces of metal stuck on there and they look better as pipes. Well, anyhow, this is, again, my first attempt at doing brass work ever. Kind of fun. I didn't show any of it on camera because, well, I got carried away with it. I will come back and show you guys how I'm bending this brass in a little bit. You can see I got all sorts of tools out in front of me. Yes, I got the evil ones with the grooved jaws. I don't really use them much. I'm mainly using the jeweler ones, and I'm using, let's see if I can find it real quick. Yeah, they're underneath here. This one with the smooth and nylon face, and this one does not have any teeth on it. So I'm basically using these two most of the time, the ones with no teeth. And I use these nippers here to cut them. Anyhow, I got a mess to clean up, and I got to clean it up before I go to bed. So I'm going to stop now, and I'm getting to bed. I will show you what I'm doing with it later. Good night. All right, folks, we're going handheld tonight, no tripod. I want to show you a little of what I'm doing here, okay? I'm working with the jewelry wire. This is copper. It's not brass. It's a little softer than brass. And it's not straight. There is a way to straighten it, however. One of the guys over at Scale Model Addict, his username is Tanker52, posted how to straighten this wire out. What you do, and yeah, my workbench is a mess right now because I've been working, haven't taken the time to clean it up. What you do is you take 2 pieces of board, okay? I got a piece of plywood here, and I don't know what this wood is. It's very dense and very heavy. And you take your piece of wire, put it between the 2 pieces of board, and you start rolling it like that. It will straighten the wire out. I straightened this piece of wire out earlier. It's much longer than it was. I straightened out the whole end of this thing and used it up there on some pieces there. Okay? So you can straighten the copper wire, and it does work. And the copper is much easier to work with than the brass, and so I'm going to probably keep working with the copper. Now, I did some brass work earlier, and I showed you guys that, and I'm going to come back to it. I'm not 100% happy with it because I removed some pieces from the kit, and you can see my gouge marks where I removed the pieces. Good thing is, this is a beat up hunk of chunk for a spaceship, and none of that's really going to matter or show. Okay? What I'm working on now are these little inserts. Alright? Now that's a piece of copper wire I took and bent around a round jeweler's file to give it a coil shape. So I've got like a cooling coil right there. Okay? This piece right here, I've only added a loop. Now you'll notice that's not wire because that's a cut off piece of an LED lead. And I bent that around these pliers right here. These are for bending shapes. I'm not going to bend brass with those anymore. The brass is too tough for them. It gouges the tips a little bit. But copper and this aluminum work fine. Okay, and I bent that around there to give me a nice even radius. I've also taken some of these brass pieces and used, copper wire, and just adding some pipes, adding some three-dimensional detail to this. Because the molded in details are softer than that brass or copper wire is, or the aluminum wire. So this is what I'm doing right now. I'm just going around adding some interest to this. Okay? Now, I tried doing a little bit of that on here, and I got some super glue in places I shouldn't have. I was also drilling holes with that right there. This came with a lighting kit for an AMT Enterprise D fiber optic edition. I've had this thing for 15 years, and it still works, and that drill bit is never broken, which is amazing to me. This is, to me, a handy drill. I mainly use it for drilling holes. Now, one of the problems with the Tamiya handy drill is the collet that comes with it will only hold certain size drill bits. But someone told me on YouTube that you can get collets for a Dremel. And that's what I got in there. The Dremel collets fit in it just fine. And then I can use whatever size drill bit I want. See, here's a collet for a Dremel that uses a very small drill bit. So I can get drill bits down to the size of this thing in the handy drill. And that's wonderful because this handy drill drills plastic like no tomorrow. It doesn't eat it like a Dremel will. I do have a Dremel right there for a little battery-powered Dremel for doing removal work. But this guy's great for drilling holes. Plus, it's a model kit, so you get to build the drill you're actually using. Okay? So there we go. This is what I'm doing right now. I'm going to have to quit for the night and pick it up again in a few days, simply because I'm out of time. But I think adding these little pieces of wire are going to liven it up a bit. Okay? Now, I've already put a few of them in the ship, but I think I can come in and add some of that in there. I don't know if I need to. That one needs it a little bit, but these two look okay. That one looks more than okay. That one needs it a little bit. That one, nah. Alright. Also added one to the top. And I don't know if I could really add too much more detail to that. But these ones are getting detailed up a little bit. I'm just using the copper wire. It's kind of fun. It's easy and relaxing. And I'm using super glue to glue them down with. I like this super glue right here. Never really dries out in the bottle. It doesn't dry incredibly fast, but it does dry fast. I mean, it's super glue. But it's a slower drying super glue, and it's kind of gel-like. I'm going to get back to this. This is being enjoyable, and I think it's just going to add some interest to it. I'm not following any official plans here. I'm just cutting wires and poking them in. Alright, just wanted to let you guys know what I'm doing. Back later. Well, here's one of the parts put in place with the new copper piping. I think it is an improvement and helps the dimensionality of it. I didn't do any of that with this one, nor those. This one could have used a teeny bit of it, but not much. That one's busy enough, I wasn't worried about it. This one definitely improved with the brass rods. That one could have used a teeny bit, but not much. I could still add some, and I might add some now that it's already installed in the ship, to be honest with you. That's easy enough to do. But anyhow, just wanted to show you what it looks like when one's installed. I'm about to put another one in the ship. It's near the end of the night. The next time I do any of this, I'll videotape actually doing some of it so you guys can see what I'm doing. But there you go. I need to get to bed. I got a long day tomorrow. And as soon as I get those guys in there, I can start tackling some of these exterior pipes. The only thing that scares me about them is removing the pipes from the surface without destroying the surface that much. That's going to take some precision work right there. Because again, I destroyed some of the surface detail in there. But again, it is a Millennium Falcon. It is beat up and scratched up, and that just adds to that idea. But then again, I can't have it all beat up and scratched up along the run of a pipe. That will look too obvious and too bad. So I can't do that much. I mean, a scratch like that's going to be okay on the ship. A few other scratches here and there will be okay on the ship. But I can't have a big scratch running along the length of little pipes like that. I can't have a big scratch running along the length of a pipe like that. So I got to figure out how to remove them without damaging the surface and remove things like that piping right there. So while I figure that out, I'm going to get to work on that. Up next, I'm going to put a strip of styrene along there to fix things up a little bit and make it look better. When I'm done with that, I'm going to be pretty close to starting working on putting things together, which will make me happy. Anyhow, be back in a bit. Here's another one of the pieces I did work on mounted in the hull. I think that looks a lot better than what was there. I think those pipes just add enough character. And they give a dimensionality to it that, well, isn't there in the plastic parts. So they give it more of a look of a pipe. Well, you guys get the idea. I think it just looks better that way. Alright. Well, I've got a few more of these to work on. Yeah, and I messed up. I touched that with some cement on my finger and left me a big old fingerprint right there. It's easy enough to fix. I'm going to scratch it up and scuff it up right there anyhow. Make it look like it hit something. So we're good. That's a fun part about this one. If I'm not careful and I make a mistake, who cares? You know, I can't say that for many models. I've got more than one of them I'm trying to make pristine and perfect. And this one, I'm not worried about it. That actually makes this build easier to do. Well, anyhow, I'll be back when I get some of these other ones done and stuck in the hole. This is fun. Talk to you later.